Okay, so my country was Mexico, and Mexico is located right here, south of the United States. Mexico is a very beautiful country with very rich culture and delicious food, but Mexico also is a very poor place to live for a variety of reasons. Some of these reasons include the police brutality and the corruption of the armed forces, and other come from poor living conditions in Mexico due to the poverty levels. For the human rights in Mexico, police brutality and corruption is a huge problem. For one example, there was a man named Juan Carlos Garcia Cortez, and he was abducted by the police when he was running errands on his moped, and they took him, kidnapped him, put him in a car, and they beat him and threatened him by saying that they would charge him for homicide if they didn't pay them 50,000 Mexican pesos, which is roughly 2,600 US dollars. After this happened, the mayor of Mexico City, Claudia Sheinbaum, made it her priority to eliminate corruption in her own sphere of influence. She succeeded in June of 2020. Another example is 19 Guatemalan people were found burnt and riddled with bullets in northeastern Mexico, and 12 police officers were arrested for this massacre. And the spokesman for the police department responsible refused to give further detail. So, moving on to the corruption relating that, the corruption in Mexico is horrible because of all the officers in Mexico that are infamous for ignoring crimes and taking bribes and sometimes even partaking in crimes. Many Mexican police have also been known to join the Mexican police forces so that they can increase their own drug trafficking business success. More than 90% of crimes that happen in Mexico go unreported by the police, and they're never investigated. Mexico has tried to combat corruption with several different systems in the past. For example, in 2017, the NAS, or National Anti-Corruption System, was created in an effort to sanction corruption by replacing some government officials with new ones and enforcing integrity violations. The poverty rates in Mexico are horrible. In 2020, the percentage for the population that can afford food peaked at 46%. Right now it is currently only 38.3%. In 2021, the average salary was $19,980 in US dollars, and the average wage for an 8-hour day is currently $8.80 in US dollars. As 2023 begins, the average wage is going to be increased to $10.50 for an 8-hour shift, but even then, it doesn't make that much of a difference when you're trying to live, because in Mexico things are so much expensive, or more expensive than they are here in the US. So even for $10.50 on an 8-hour shift day, it won't help the people of Mexico live more comfortably. The average living cost in Mexico is roughly $600 to $2,000 US dollars in 1 month. Rent and internet costs $400 per month combined, and other costs are often expensive as well. Food averages $300 US dollars per month. Water is only about $15 per month, and they don't sound like the prices are that expensive, but they are, because in Mexico the Mexican peso is significantly less valuable than the US dollar. So $15 a month doesn't sound like a lot of money, but for Mexican citizens, it is a lot more. For their food and culture, Mexico has several popular foods that have made their way to the U.S., such as tacos, enchiladas, tamales, tostadas, the list goes on and on. A lot of foods that have become iconic from Mexico come from ancient Aztec cuisine or ancient Mayan cuisine. And French and Spanish conquistadors also made contributions to the different kinds of cuisine, culture, and food. Mexican culture is very deep and very complex. One example of the traditions that they have in the culture is the sugar skull, like you can see here. Sugar skulls were brought to Mexico by the Italians in the 17th century. It is an adaptation of sugar art invented by the Italians. The sugar output and amount of sugar production in Mexico was very, very large at the time. So they learned how to make sugar art for their own uses, such as the Day of the Dead. So around the time of the Day of the Dead, you will see a lot of sugar skulls if you go to more Mexican or Latino places. Sugar skulls are used to represent the dead, and they were put on gravestones to welcome back the departed souls of those who had been lost. They were also made in small batches in the homes of sugar skull makers, and they were largely used as decorations on ofrendas, which are an altar that is placed in a Mexican family's home, and it has a bunch of different pictures and memorabilia for the people that were lost. So you could find them there as well. Overall, Mexico is a very beautiful and very diverse country, even though it does have its flaws. The food and music of Mexico are iconic across the world, and it makes Mexican culture very unique and very famous. However, Mexico does have its problems like the police brutality and the police corruption, and also their extreme poverty rates and high prices for living. Thank you.